committee meetings to go to. I've got a committee meeting to go to here at 3:30 on the sexual predator bill. We hope we can get that bill out of committee today. A lot of work on that bill, and our hope is to get it out of committee today and get that to the floor, if not this week, very early next week. And we've made great progress to try to address some concerns of committee members primarily who have raised, some of the points are very good, and I think we need to address those concerns, and we've done that, and we'll have some new language in the committee at 3:30 that we think eases those concerns while not changing the main focus of the bill, which we said over and over again, which is to take sexual predators, keep them in jail as long as we can, and when they're out, electronically monitor them and make sure they're not living and working near our children. With that, let me just sort of go over what's on the balance of the calendar for the House this week and what you may see on the floor between now and Friday. First of all, we've got two pieces of the governor's legislative agenda we believe will be on the floor this week. Number one would be his child care tax credit bill, which we hope to have on the floor Thursday, along with the land conservation tax credit, which is a great piece of legislation, which I told the governor my freshman term up here, I sponsored a bill with then Representative Rickard, very similar to that bill, and we think will allow for much more creation of green space, creation and preservation of green space, without local state taxpayer or state taxpayer money going to buy all of it. This way, when you're giving tax credits, you're actually getting the land for pennies on the dollar rather than dollar for dollar. So it's a great incentive for private citizens to make those worthy contributions to private land trusts and municipalities for green space purposes, while at the same time not only giving them incentives but growing their green space. On Friday morning, we will take up on the House floor the amended 06 budget, mid-year adjustment. I believe tomorrow afternoon in appropriations, Chairman Harvard will hear that from the full committee, and the committee votes that budget out, and our plan is to take that up Friday morning, which is unusual to do a budget on the House floor on Fridays, but we're confident that this budget is so good, change is so minor that we're hoping to have a fairly short debate on that on the floor of the House. That's pretty much what you'll see the remainder of the week in the House as far as the calendar. I'll take a few questions about that, and then I will recognize the Speaker Pro Tem for an item they want to discuss and announce to you. Any questions about anything else?
Julia, since a lot of us won't be in the Judiciary Committee on over the plans, can you give us a summation of what the language changes are in the sexual predator bill?
Yes. The concern was that juveniles who engage in what I think I said in committee the other day, what we would term maybe irresponsible or immature behavior, not be grouped into the same category with those who are definitely sexual predators, adult sexual predators on children. The real challenge is getting language that does that without weakening the ability of prosecutors to prosecute others who meet those guidelines. It's been a big challenge for me as a layman. Listen, he asked me to do this, and now he owes me big, sending me down to Judiciary. But I think we've met those concerns today. It's my understanding that prosecuting attorneys, district attorneys are now in full support of this bill. Look, there is no way you're going to get everybody involved in this issue 100% on board. It's too, I don't want to say controversial, but it's such a broad area of the code. You have people on that committee who do defend people that are charged, and I respect them, and they need to do that. That's part of our judicial system. But sooner or later, I think it's a policy issue that we've got to move forward. And I'm hopeful today. I'm hopeful today that we'll be able to resolve it.
Can you summarize what the language is, or is it?
Well, I'd like to save that a little bit for the committee, but it would basically it would give more discretion to the judge that if the person that is charged of an offense, this is their first offense, And the nature of the crime does not include several what we would call aggravating, or would that be the right term, aggravating circumstances, then it would give the judge discretion to sentence outside the minimum mandates. So that, hopefully, that language will protect our young people from that type of action.
Sure. Can you react to the Democrats' proposal today that you introduced in both chambers, bill that would allow the top 10% of graduating classes in schools to choose and be guaranteed admission into any public college or university of their choice?
Well, I have to be honest, Dick, I've been busy on the House. That's the first I've heard about it. So I'd like to read the details of the bill. On the surface, I think at least it has some merit. It appears to me that the assumption is that our top 10% students are not being admitted to our state universities if they desire to. I would think the only thing that pops into my mind without reading the bill would be, does the student, even though they graduate in the top 10% of their class in GPA, do they meet all the other criteria for admission to the university? I mean, in terms of their core subjects, in terms of their SAT scores, and the other factors that go into the admission process. And I'm not real sure we want to get that detail with the regents, but I'm sure the leadership is certainly willing to look at the bill, and if it has merit, move from there.
If you had a chance to look at any of the eminent domain bills from Senator Jones, they said it has some Republican support on the Senate side.
I have not. It's the first I've heard about that he has a bill.
Some of the debate, such as what we saw today over the redistricting plan, that will provide talk among particularly groups like Common Cause of maybe an independent commission for redistricting. What do you think about that idea? Is that a good idea?
No, it's a terrible idea. Redistricting is inherently a legislative process, and that was not only upheld, but re-emphasized by the 3 federal judges who ruled on the Georgia case. They, in fact, if you will remember, short of begging us to please do our legislative duty by, in fact, passing maps. I don't know how many of you are listening, but when Chairman Franklin went to the well to close, he made a very important point that the House never passed a map after that. After the judges ruled the maps unconstitutional, he asked the House and the Senate to pass maps. The House never brought a bill out of committee, nor did they bring a bill to the floor of the House for a vote. So Chairman Franklin is absolutely correct. We will never know what the Senate may or may not have done until you actually pass a bill. You can talk about what ifs all day, but the process is you drop a bill, you get it out of committee, you bring it to the floor of the House, and then you send it over. But that is a legislative process that I believe needs to stay in the legislature. All right, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Speaker Pro Tem, the Speaker. I believe they have some announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. Last year, this House of Representatives demonstrated some great forward thinking and leadership by helping a industry and a company that's really synonymous with our state of Georgia. And that specifically was Delta Airlines through our initiative to try to cap the amount of sales tax that they pay on jet fuel, which was becoming at the time the second most expensive item to operate in airlines. Now it's the most expensive item. But we did that even before Delta filed bankruptcy. And as you know, during a special session, we had some members in the other party who said that we didn't do enough, and they're the same ones who voted against that very effort to help the largest private employer in the state, Delta Airlines is. And it has and this year, the Speaker asked me to come up with some ideas. He came up with some ideas, and I think demonstrated some great leadership on how can we continue to help an airline which is struggling, that is has an economic impact in our state equivalent to an entire annual budget in this state. About $18 billion Delta Airlines has an impact on our economy. So we searched for some ways. He came up with some great ideas, and we believe we have a plan this year that will help Delta Airlines while not impacting the state budget. Similar to what we did last year, we just capped the sales tax, state sales tax on jet fuel, and basically didn't recapture a lot of the windfall on that. We believe that Jerry Grinstein and Delta Airlines are making sacrifices. They've got a plan to reorganize and come out of bankruptcy, and we feel like it's incumbent on us to help them out even further. These are Georgia families, job holders who have made sacrifices, they've taken pay cuts, and of course Delta has also cut some 7,000 jobs. But we believe they're on the road to recovery. The idea that the Speaker has come up with this year, which I'm going to carry the bill in the House for him, I think is a great one. And once again, it'll help this airline, as well as other airlines in Georgia, go through this tough times for the industry. And what the bill does is going to allow Delta to recapture $28 million worth of trapped job credits, job training tax credits, which they have earned, passed by previous legislatures under the Georgia Business Expansion Support Act, and already accounted for in the state budget. We approved these tax credits for industries like Delta. They have, over the years, of course, been retraining employees for jobs that otherwise would have gone out of state if they didn't retrain these employees, or the jobs would have been eliminated. They have some $28 million of trapped credits because the law was written that they could only offset those credits on income. Everybody knows since 9/11, 2001, most airlines, including Delta, has not earned a profit. Thus, they've not been able to recapture those credits that they have earned. We have come up with a way to allow them to trigger those credits. They're, again, already earned, approved by the Department of Technical and Adult Education and the Department of Revenue, by allowing them to offset their earned tax credits off of withholding tax rather than income. We think this is a novel approach and something they deserve. These tax credits will lapse, some of them, if we don't take action pretty soon. The impact on the state, we're going to get a fiscal note, but there again, I believe it's immeasurable because in previous years when we passed this legislation, fiscal notes were attached and accounted for. So we're hopeful that it won't impact the budget, but will allow Delta, as they go through the bankruptcy court, to have yet another asset that they can claim to help them get out of bankruptcy, which is scheduled for sometime next spring, hopefully, if everything goes right. We believe, simply in closing, it's the right thing to do for a lot of reasons, the economic impact that I've stated earlier, but if you think about Delta and you think about the airline industry and what it's done to Atlanta, to Georgia, it really has made us sort of one of the most recognized international gateways in this country. And by giving us that international recognition, it further allows us to attract jobs to Georgia from all over the world. So with that, I'll take any questions, but you might want to direct some to the Speaker. A lot of it's his idea, and credit him for realizing that this is a company that means so much to our state that if we can find ways, we ought to try to help them. That's what we're trying to do this year.
I'm a little confused. So does that mean they'll get $28 million?
The way it worked, yeah, they got $28 million trapped. By allowing them to take it from withholding taxes, Delta pays some $5.5 million a month to the State Revenue Department in withholding taxes. It's estimated within 6 months after the bill is signed by the governor that they'll be able to recapture that entire $28 million. So, which is good for them as they go to bankruptcy court to further demonstrate they've got local support in their home state and also the cash.
Why does that not leave a hole in the state revenue
Well,
stream?
like any credit that is provided for in the fiscal note, and you balance your budget based on what you pass in legislation that has fiscal impact. So we believe we're going to get another fiscal note on it, but we believe it's already accounted for funds that just haven't been returned to the employer.
With the credits that have already been
Already earned and approved by both Department of Technical and Adult Education and Department of Revenue. So we believe they're accounted for. Yeah.
appropriated but not spent, so the money is there.
We believe so. And we're going to, either way, we're going forward with the legislation, but we believe it's already accounted for. I've got all the fiscal notes from the original passage of the legislation, and legal opinion that I've received is that it is accounted for.
So in short, that money would not have to come from other programs or budget.
Exactly.
That's right. And just to sum up, Mark gave me credit, but Mark's the businessman that's going forward with this. He's carrying the bill, and I'm second, Jerry's third. And we just wanted to make another statement that we're pro-business. We want to do everything we can to support Delta, its workers, and the Georgia economy, and send a strong signal that Delta's coming out of this. We're going to be there to help them. We're going to make sure of it, because when Delta's successful, Georgia will be successful.
Thank you. Thank you.